How can we become competent and confident educators in the digital world? In order to answer this question, I'd like to describe the educator's digital acculturation path by borrowing a model from intercultural research. So, what is acculturation? It's a process in which an individual adapts, acquires, and adjusts to a new cultural environment. It can happen as a result of being placed into a new culture or when another culture is brought to us. As we follow the metaphoric journey of a traveler, we can draw our own analogy with the digital acculturation since we experience very similar emotional and behavioral changes. Digital acculturation is the development path of a traditional educator from a brick and mortar institute into a competent digital citizen. Now, let's look at the acculturation stages. The first phase is called the tourist stage. Tourists have brief experience and some knowledge of the other culture. In this perspective, everything is new, fresh, and attractive. Tourists have a positive image of the culture, and even if they lack the necessary language and communication skills, they have very positive experiences. What about the digital tourist? Digital tourists become aware of the interesting features and usually respond to these positively. For instance, how great that you don't have to leave your house and you can still meet all kinds of people from all around the world. At this stage, digital tourists often experience an over-optimistic view on digital challenges. They may even tell their friends that they are using Zoom now and teaching online is a piece of cake. Let's look at the second stage. The survivor has more knowledge about the other culture. They are aware of the differences, but they can get disoriented as well. They are able to get around, but they rarely understand the cultural overtones. They also experience conflict between their own culture and the foreign culture. The foreign culture may feel unwelcoming or even hostile at times. Travelers can easily become homesick and often wish they had never set out on this journey. For them, the home culture seems to be the norm, and this is the stage which will build into some kind of culture shock, which was actually called acculturation threshold in the original model. And also, let's look at the digital survivor. This is the critical stage in the digital acculturation process. The easy game is over here. Educators try to apply the rules of the in-person classroom, but it doesn't follow the same logic, and it just does not work simply. There is an obvious conflict between values approaches, rules of the old teaching methods, and the digital solutions. This is the stage where many educators become discouraged and frustrated. They may even experience burnout or just simply give up at this point. And then there is the blissful and inevitable acculturation threshold that is a real challenge. It can be serious, even affecting well being or the ability to work. However, if it doesn't stop you, it will be followed by the third phase, which is called the migrant stage. Travelers here have overcome the acculturation threshold. They become immigrants or residents and begin to be aware of the inner logic of the new culture. They develop high cultural competence and sensitivity. They often visit the new culture or may even decide to live there. So, what about the digital immigrant? Similarly, after overcoming the digital culture shock, the immigrant educators start to feel familiar in the virtual world. They do not panic easily if there are differences between in person and digital instructions. They develop their growth mindset in this context and tend to easily fit the newly learned methods into the system of digital instruction. At this stage, educators start to feel more comfortable and secure in the virtual world, and they even begin to think according to the new rules and expectations. The last and fourth stage of the acculturation model is the citizen stage. Citizens in a foreign culture have a deep insight and understanding of cultural issues. They do not only speak the language, they also internalize the local value system and don't understand it why foreigners find it so strange. Whether they go back regularly to the new culture or stay there permanently, they will feel at home. Now, if we look at the digital citizens, we see that they have a native life competence. It also includes an awareness of digital systems and appropriate pedagogical approaches and soft skills. At this stage, digital citizen educators may have long forgotten what made so difficult to transition to digital education in the first place. Now, if you reflect on your own attitude and emotions, what do you think? What stage are you at the moment? Feel free to share your insights in the comment section.